ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. Rob Thompson. Carl Schoening. Halftime.
It is halftime. You're halfway through your Monday. Speaking on a 24-hour clock, that is. I'm Carl Schoening. Rob Thompson not in today. He's letting the producers have the reins. Woo! Yeah, James Pledger, the other voice you'll be hearing as you guys tune into our frequency here on ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. Good weekend. Fun weekend. Lots of sports. Still kind of the dead period, but the Olympics wrapped up. Some summer league action.
How happy are you that the Olympics are done now?
Because
I know it ruined your entire sleep schedule.
Yeah, that's what I was about to get at. As somebody who this week I'm starting to wake up at 2:30, and I had been waking up in the 3 o'clock hour during the Olympics.
Why are you waking up earlier now?
I'm doing the sports centers in the morning.
Oh, there's
yeah. And I need to get my workout in, and I aspire within this year to start working out for an hour every morning. I'm starting with 20 minutes. I got to get on that Pledger level.
Can appreciate that.
I'm also not going to be able to do what you do until I get that cushy afternoon show gig.
Well, I was in the gym at 3 while you were gone, so it didn't stop me from working out. It just pushed up the time.
That's a applause. That is commitment, and that is the kind of commitment that you really need. It's easy to get started, but it's hard to keep going. So shout out to you, James Pledger. And I know you're here all the time. How was your weekend?
It was good. It was good. Another good workout on Saturday. A lot of rest this weekend. I managed Sunday to just kind of decompress a little bit after I was here for Foss, and it was a very recharging the battery type weekend.
Do you have a sports moment that stood out over the weekend?
Felix really kind of stole the show late in the week through the weekend as she, became one of the most medaled track athletes in USA history, which is saying something when you're talking about the Michael Johnsons, the Carl Lewises. That is a very impressive feat.
Yes, Allison Felix with the 400 relay, she ended up getting her 11th medal overall, her 7th gold medal, becomes the most decorated all-time track and field American Olympian. So congratulations to Allison Felix. I was surprised you didn't go Houston Rockets. They started Summer League, and that's kind of where I want to start, to be honest with you.
I was locked into that.
Yeah, were you? Because I didn't get a chance. I was doing a lot of home stuff. I finally feel moved into San Antonio. I love it. I had a lot of boxes that I needed to unpack this weekend.
All done with the unpacking, though? No more boxes?
I still need to set up my desk that my girlfriend will also be using during the day. So at the moment, she's working from the couch. Mm-hmm. But I didn't really get a chance because I woke up Saturday and started doing that, and I ended up bleeding that over almost all day Sunday. And then last night, I got to sleep at like 7:30. It felt great.
Nice.
Well, because I have to wake up at 2:30, as aforementioned.
That's still nice, though. When you can fall asleep that early in the evening, especially knowing you have to get up as early as you do, that is a great feeling to know you're getting a very good amount of sleep.
There's something in yoga called Shavasana. It happens at the end of every class where you just basically...
Do I need to dump that? Or
No.
Oh, okay.
It's Sanskrit. But it's basically where you can just relax your central nervous system, your peripheral nervous system, and you go from that fight or flight mode to that rest and relax mode. Just take a few minutes, do that right before, brush your teeth, and it should be easy to sleep after that. You'll feel relaxed. Hopefully. It does take some practice. I've been doing Shavasana for a long time.
I've never had an issue with that. Usually all I have to do is lay down, get in a very comfortable position, put a blanket over me, and I will be out like a light.
See, yeah, and that's
I'm like
a rare
Rudy
trait.
J in the car in Oxnard. I can fall asleep at any moment. I just got to get comfy.
Well, I guess that's general advice to anybody. If you're interested in yoga, that's probably the best part. People say that that's why they go, is for the nap time at the end.
What do they call it again?
Shavasana. Yeah. We'll work on your Sanskrit a little later. Don't worry about it.
Shavasana.
There you go. You got it right. We'll get into Ekapada Kundanyasana a little later.
No.
Setu Bandha Shavangasana.
I'm okay.
Also known as bridge pose. A lot of people know bridge pose. They don't know Setu Bandha Shavangasana.
Do they know number 2 overall pick versus number 3 overall pick?
I do want to talk about that. Yeah, we'll get into Spurs Summer League here in a bit. By the way, you can join us online at YouTube. Just look up Halftime Today's Date. You can join us on Facebook Live. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. That's the best way to talk to us here during the show. And I'll move my mic a little bit so you can see my face a little better. So, Pledge, you were locked in on it. I got to see the box score a little bit as I checked it out. Alperen Şengün kind of looked pretty good. He outplayed Evan Mobley by the box score estimates of it.
Sure. Mobley had his moments. He looked very good as well in his debut. He got met at the rim by Kevin Martin Jr.
I saw that highlight. Yes, that was cool.
That was awesome. But yeah, Alperen Şengün played really well, drew a lot of fouls down on the low block on Mobley, managed to get to the line, was a plus 18 in the plus minus. Jalen Green looked really, really good. Looks like a dude that can be, that scorer that can possibly one day lead the NBA in scoring. He's got a ton of ability, and him paired with Kevin Martin Jr. or Kevin Porter Jr. is going. It's a lot of K Juniors on this team, but him and Kevin Porter Jr. in the backcourt is going to be something very special to watch. And then you add Alperen Şengün and possibly Garuba on the low block with them, along with Christian Wood. This team has some very fun young pieces that I am super excited to watch grow.
They did this rebuild pretty quick in Houston. Obviously, we know the whole James Harden fat suit story.
Less than a year.
And give them credit. They did get lucky, and they were aggressive going after Kevin Porter Jr., who had his locker room issues in Cleveland, and they got him only for a second-round pick, which is a steal. Oh, my goodness. And then, obviously, they gave him the developmental reps that he needed, and he had a 40-point game this season, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Yeah, he balled out in the tanking season for the Rockets. And then, obviously, it results in Jalen Green, who last night in 30 minutes went 9 of 18 from the field, 4 of 9 from 3, and finished with 23 points, the number 2 overall pick that the Houston Rockets used. Looking pretty good. I don't want to overreact to too many Summer League games, but that's what we do here on radio.
Yeah, and speaking of overreaction, I mean, you can tell this kid can get his shot. Like, he's not afraid to dip into his bag and get his shot, whether it's a turnaround, whether it's getting to the rim, step backs. Like, he has moves to be able to get his own shot. Now, against Summer League talent, we'll see what happens once he goes against NBA defenses, but he looks like he has the ability and the athleticism to create his own shot right now.
Summer League is weird because I want to say it's better competition than the G League because you end up with all these guys that are going to be first round picks that end up in the rotation, second round picks that get up there. But overall, these guys are just thrown together. This is summer basketball. This is like pickup. And you're right. When you do finally get to the NBA level, these guys are going to be seeing different defenses, the real guys, if you will. But Jalen Green, I don't even think he needs Summer League because he spent the entire year last year in the Gubble. But that being said, it was only 15 games instead of 50. So I think it's fine, especially since he's acclimating himself to the Houston system and his new teammates. He doesn't need Summer League, but it's cool to see him out there, and especially that 2 versus 3 that you mentioned. They wanted to start off Summer League with a bang.
And this is the beginning of the Summer League for the Rockets and for Cade Cunningham and the Pistons and the other teams that we've gotten to see kind of take the floor early in this. That's the first action we're getting to see of these players. We've gotten to see Josh Primo and Devin Vassell already. We've gotten to see what the Spurs have done in the Summer League because they started up in Salt Lake City going into the weekend, and they have 3 games under the belt coming into Vegas, and they start Vegas tonight.
Yes, that's right. They start Vegas tonight, 6 o'clock against the Timberwolves. You got to tune in on ESPNU. So already the summer Spurs have more nationally televised games than the San Antonio Spurs of last year.
That's fair. They should have.
Everybody's nationally televised in the Summer League. It's either this or baseball.
And who's to say baseball wouldn't take more precedence, an actual regular season baseball game versus a summer league game?
Tell that to the people visiting Vegas right now. I see so many people on my timeline, a lot of them media members, but some of them just fans, just really enjoying this time in Vegas. If you had me in Vegas for 2 weeks, I'd go missing.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure 11 days.
Would you have that much fun in Vegas?
Somewhere around day 5, it's like, someone check on Carl. It's the third game, and make sure he's not in a casino or something. Maybe winning a lot of money, maybe losing a lot of money.
See, I'm not a big gambler, but I'm big on Vegas and the nightlife and having fun. Like, I will join my buddies in the casino. I will sit at a table for a little bit, but I'm not the guy you got to worry about losing on the casino floor.
If you're gambling, the drinks are free, Pledger.
I'm aware. Which is why I will go find like the $10 blackjack table and just kind of sit around for a few hours.
Shout out to all the new NBA players that are fighting off the huge potential distraction of going out and partying with all the NBA vets that take this as their annual trip to Vegas during the offseason, because I'm sure that's tempting. Taylor Horton Tucker Jr. just goes ahead and shoots a couple texts out to the new Lakers saying, hey, you're going to be going out for a little bit. You're welcome to come. That's a test.
THT just secured himself a little bit of a bag, though.
He's going to have some fun with that bag, too. Going to Vegas, I saw he was out there. So, hey, congratulations to all these guys, obviously. This is the first step in their professional journey. A little bit later tonight, we'll be talking to, a little bit later in the show at 12:30, we'll be talking to somebody else joining his professional career path, if you will. Nico Ali Walsh. That is the grandson of Muhammad Ali. He'll be joining halftime here at 12:30. So I'm looking forward to that interview, Pledge, because he gets to get his professional career rolling the 14th. He's 21 years old, fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada.
Oh.
So we're going all Vegas today, I think.
It's all Vegas. It's all about Las Vegas. Are we going to do some Raiders talk?
I hear they're going to have a club in the south end zone, a full-on club where you can dance and all of that.
A full-on club with a DJ and bottle service. And if you think about how much a beer is at an NFL football game, just think about how much bottle service is going to cost.
I'm going to need somebody to take me to that. I'm not going to pay for it myself. So anyway, moving back onto the Summer League, I want to talk Spurs Summer League because they wrapped up a really tightly contested game against Memphis. Who cares about the final score? It was a really it was a really competitive game, and you could tell that the players were getting into it, especially Devin Vassell. I love the edge I saw from Devin Vassell, and you have some sound that Vassell had. He had a great game. Somebody asked about the great game that Devin Vassell had, but instead he wanted to talk about something else. Let's go ahead and play that sound.
Can we talk about Primo? To come out here and play with that much confidence. And, I talked to him and, before the game and at halftime, I'm like, bro, just play confident, play your game. And I mean, he showed everybody that, he's here and that he's ready. He's young. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to turn the ball over. He's going to mess up. But at the end of the day, he doesn't let that get to him. He keeps coming, making some big shots in the fourth quarter when we needed him to, hitting tough ones. He hit a freaking dirt fadeaway. He has so much potential. I don't think he even knows or knows how good he is or how good he can be. And I'm really high on him.
Skip that first question just to talk about his rookie teammate. That's good leadership right there, but also it makes me wonder what's Devin Vassell seeing in practice that we're not getting to see, because he wanted to go ahead and congratulate him right away with a good game, but he has a great game, 27-point game, the game we're expecting from Vassell, honestly, but he wants to shout out his rookie 18-year-old teammate, Josh Primo, who finished with 17 points and had some eye-popping highlights, he's a rookie turnovers, but overall, that was a great game and what you wanted to expect from both rookies showing out.
Yeah, and I'm starting to adjust my timeline on Primo just a little bit in terms of how much I expect to see him this season in San Antonio. I have gone away from he's going to be buried in Austin because he's 18 and not physically developed enough to maybe we see him on the Keldon timeline. Maybe he starts the year in Austin and he starts to develop down there, but by what was it? February, you started to see him on the actual Spurs NBA roster, started to get some minutes before COVID happened, but once they came back for the bubble, Keldon was full in, and that carried into the next season.
Yeah, month and a half before the whole COVID thing happened, that whole thing, the Spurs did call up Luka and Keldon, and I think they got spot minutes. I want to say that Luka played an entire quarter at Madison Square Garden, which was big for him at the time. So yeah, what we think Primo will probably do is spend a little bit of time with Austin, get him the opportunity to make mistakes, because you make mistakes when Pop's trying to get that all-time coaching record, the team's trying to make the playoffs. They're bad mistakes. You make those mistakes against the Sioux Falls Skyforce, that's great mistakes. That's the opportunity to learn, and you get to have the ball in your hands, learn the Spurs system. You won't hear me say a bad thing about the Austin Spurs. The D-League used to have that connotation of you're being demoted of some kind, but now I would say look at it as an investment into your future. Cam Payne played the most games in his NBA career for the Texas Legends last year, and that worked out phenomenally for him going into Phoenix. And you have some sound on Josh Primo, and hear some of the things that Primo had to say following that Memphis game Friday.
Yeah, because you brought up some of the turnovers and the rookie mistakes he was making, and Primo was talking about that, and as he was talking about his experience in the Summer League up in Salt Lake.
Just trying to put one foot in front of the other, just building on the last game, trying to have less turnovers. Coming into it, just trying to be more confident. Devin's been working with me, just trying to get me to play free, So we're just trying to get our legs under us, and I think this is a good first step going into Vegas.
Was that an 18-year-old?
That's an 18-year-old.
He doesn't sound like an 18-year-old.
I mean, he kind of sounds like one. He doesn't speak like one.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
He does sound like an 18-year-old.
That's a fair definition change. Yeah, he speaks very confidently, and he sounds like he knows what he's saying. And we talked about it on R&R this morning. Somebody somewhere, not in the Spurs organization, threw out a Kobe comparison. And that's more about being hungry at a young age. But
it's the mentality.
But yeah, there's a mentality there that you're starting to see now with all these interviews, his first games on the court as a professional, that are making some of those doubters when Adam Silver announced the pick, realizing what the Spurs saw.
And it's the mentality in how he handles himself, how he attacks it daily. And you saw it in those games, whether it's the turnaround. He has a confidence in his shot. Even if there's a turnover, he has a confidence the next time he comes down the floor that he is going to make the play. And that's a very, very refreshing thing to see, especially when you talk about, last season in Alabama, he had mainly worked as a spot-up shooter off the ball. During Summer League, they're trying to work him more on the ball. And Primo talked about both working on and off the ball.
It's always been something that I've worked on. Just working with my father in the gym. We always worked on passing as well as shooting and dribbling. But Canada basketball, we work on that a lot, being able to pass with both hands. And then just moving up on through the ranks, I just continue to work on it. So it's something that starts to come natural to you after that.
And that's true. I didn't watch much of him in high school. And then you go on and you find out that he pretty much played off ball because he was a senior in high school that reclassified, and now he's playing rotation minutes in the SEC. So, of course, he's going to be put off ball. We had Nate Oates on right after the draft. He talked about how he put him on ball. He did well, but he saw a little bit of confidence dip in him because it is a very high confidence thing to have the ball in your hand so much. So they moved him back off ball, but now the Spurs are basically saying, hey, go out there, make mistakes. Don't worry about your confidence. You hear it with Devin Vassell in that sound we played earlier. So, great development opportunity here for Josh Primo. I think Devin Vassell sort of missed out on these first rep opportunities with no Summer League last year. He didn't sniff Austin, or quote unquote the gubble, if you will. So this is great for both of the Spurs' last two lottery picks. And I can't wait. 6:00 tonight, ESPNU. I'll be fresh off my nap. I'll have Jason Minnick's in the background. And I'll be dual screening with the Blitz on my phone and the game on my TV.
It's very kind of you.
Of course. Oh yeah. I usually miss the 4:00 hour because I'm getting my Z's in, but that's something I usually tune in for the second half.
Got to catch your sleep where you can.
Oh,
It's very
absolutely.
important.
All righty. Well, I scour for headlines all the time. So I want to get to Carl's countdown real quick before we get to Nico Ali Walsh. So let's go ahead and hit Carl's countdown. All right, we'll keep this one short today. Headline 2, Zeke Elliott was sued over the weekend. This time the lawsuit is over an accused dog attack, and the accuser is asking for $1 million. Now, this has already been investigated by police. The accused dog, Ace, was a Rottweiler, had to go through a dangerous dog hearing, and ultimately had to leave the city already. So I feel bad for Zeke because, A, he's already lost the dog, but now he's getting sued over $1 million because of it. That's a tough distraction to have right now on top of that.
Yeah, this is something that we knew was coming after the incident happened earlier last year, but now, he's lost the dog. Now they're going after his money. It's a sad thing because all dogs have this possibility. It's not the fact that it's Zeke dog. It's not the fact that it's a Rottweiler. It's not the fact of anything else other than it's an animal. It's a domesticated animal, but it's still an animal, and animals are going to do animal things at times.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate situation. This is Zeke's third lawsuit in 14 months. I'm still sitting on 0, but knock on wood there. Headline 1, Manny Pacquiao turns down an offer to fight Jake Paul, but is interested in fighting Floyd Mayweather in a rematch. What do you think? Are you interested in the rematch?
Yeah, I'd be interested in seeing that.
What year was that? That was the year the Spurs lost to the Clippers, so that was 2015.
Yeah, it was like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
5-6 years ago. That was a long time ago, and both of these people are way past their prime. And as we've seen, Floyd's dipped into the Paul realm of boxing, but I'm glad that Manny doesn't want to go that road yet, but he still wants his shot at Floyd, and maybe Floyd's a little bit more susceptible now, as we saw against Paul.
Floyd is an entertainer at this point, and I don't think that entertainer is going to risk his perfect record anymore. So he needs to know that the fix is in before he does that. All right, headline 0 now, wrapping things up. Saints receiver Michael Thomas took to Twitter this morning to throw a little shade at the Saints, I think, in an image that read, "They tried to damage your reputation. You saved theirs by not telling your side of the story." Thomas has been criticized for putting off an off-season surgery just before training camp starts and putting his start of the season in jeopardy. So not something you want, where your star receiver, in a year where you need him most with your star quarterback retiring in the offseason, feuding with the team.
Yeah, but it feels like Thomas and the Saints have been going at each other for years now. They were going at each other during the contract negotiations when he was trying to become the highest paid receiver in the NFL. They were going at each other even after it got done, as he got hurt last year and going into the season and playing through it. And now you're hearing about the possibility that, the Saints may have thrown him under the bus, but at the same time, if you knew this surgery was needed, why didn't you get it done sooner in order to be ready for the start of the regular season? I understand the training camp and you want to miss like all that stuff. That's just a veteran move. But when you push off a surgery to where it impacts the actual regular season, then you have to call things into question.
We want to know Michael Thomas's side of the story. That's the problem here, is he's just alluding that there must be something that the Saints did that could maybe hurt their reputation. So, and Sean Payton was obviously asked about the situation. So what is he going to do? Plead the fifth? So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what the situation here is exactly, but obviously this is not the kind of cryptic messaging you want to see from your players on social media.
Well, as it comes to dealing with Deshaun Watson and cryptic messages for the better part of half a year now, I've gotten pretty good at reading into these things. Very, very attuned to what future lyric means what now.
So that's the other thing here. Is Michael Thomas just talking about something going on in his personal life, or is he talking about the Saints? We may never know.
It could be anything, and the only thing that would shed light on it would be, Thomas's side of the story, obviously, to see why this surgery was put off, and it could be a multitude of things. But at the same time, he is not beholden to the team to get his surgery at any other timetable than what he and his doctors feel comfortable with. That's why professional athletes end up going to get second opinions. They don't trust the team doctors explicitly anymore. They have their own that give them their own idea of how to best to handle things, because maybe he put it off because they thought it would heal on its own without surgery, because if you can avoid surgery at all costs. But once it didn't start to heal, all of a sudden it was time to get the surgery.
I guess that could be his side of the story. And you never know. This could be something worth monitoring in the new Saints era without.
I'm sure his $20 million a year will help him sleep just fine at night.
And demand a trade to Philadelphia for me, will you, Michael Thomas? All righty. Hey, that was a fun first segment. Coming up next, we interview a young budding boxer. You might know his grandfather, Muhammad Ali. Nico Ali Walsh will be joining the show. Pudge and I have some questions to get in with him as he gets his first professional match coming up on the 14th. And I think I need to ask him a couple questions about his grandfather. I know he won't mind.
What? That seems very, very intrusive. I don't know if you should do that.
I'll keep it to stuff that happened publicly. All right. This is San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. We'll see you on the other side of the break.
Cowboys football is not a gentle game. Cowboys football is not soft. Cowboys football is war. Just don't use that helmet as a weapon. When you want total Cowboys football coverage, get it here on the home of the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. This is San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
While most water providers do a pretty good job making sure they exceed EPA guidelines, did you know EPA standards for tap water have not been updated in almost 20 years? With growing concerns of our aging infrastructure, more homeowners want to take their water quality into their own hands. That is why you should call Alamo Water Softeners and have them give you a free water analysis. Some chemicals and contaminants are undetectable. Discover the Alamo Water Softeners difference. Go to alamowatersofteners.com. That's alamowatersofteners.com.
Now's the time to get a great deal on Kubota construction equipment, featuring durable Kubota engines, more comfort, more productivity, more get it done right. The Kubota construction lineup shows up ready to work every day. Right now, bring home select Kubota equipment for $0 down, 0% APR for up to 48 months, or save up to $7,000. Now through September 30th, 2021. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com.
From the Gulf of Mexico to the hill country of Texas, Ewald Kubota is your Kubota dealer.
If your brakes are bad or you think they're going bad, get them fixed. Hi, Jason Minix here for New Brakes, nubrakes.com. They're a mobile brake shop. That means they come to you to fix your brakes. We're all busy. None of us have time to go spend hours waiting at a repair shop or want to deal with the hassle of dropping your car off and going back to get it the next day. That is the beauty of New Brakes. They come to you. New Brakes provides convenient and affordable brake repairs, and they only fix brakes, so you won't get the upsells like at a traditional repair shop. Most repairs are done in less than an hour. They use premium brake parts and back all repairs with a 24-month, 24,000-mile warranty. Go to nubrakes.com. Schedule that repair. Save 10% when you mention my name or ESPN San Antonio. You need your brakes done? Get them done with New Brakes. You continue to do what you do while New Brakes fixes your brakes, and they're great at what they do. Go read all the 5-star reviews and schedule your repair at nubrakes.com. That's nubrakes.com.
Guys, stop what you're doing. Give me a few seconds of your time and let me give you a piece of advice that will change your love life forever. Have you noticed you've been losing a little pep in your step? Has your lady friend asked you, is everything okay? Do you find yourself having trouble rising for the occasion? Do you stress out before that special moment and wonder, is it gonna work? Guys, I'm going to let you in on a big secret. You don't ever have to worry again. The Mojo Male Enhancement Formula has you covered. Mojo is the 100% guaranteed male enhancement formula that guarantees lasting success, if you know what I mean. The Mojo Male Enhancement Formula is safe, natural, and effective every single time, guaranteed. Mojo is available in a fast-acting spray and a quick-action capsule. Do yourself and her a favor and call Pure Line Nutrition in San Antonio today. They'll get you set up for success. Call 210-494-2210. That number again is 210-494-2210. Mojo Male Enhancement, only available at Pure Line Nutrition.
Joe, I've come up with the greatest quarter moon marketing idea. It helps people multitask wherever they work.
I'm sure it's epic.
Hear me out, my supersized, sarcastic superior. I call it the Quarter Moon Office and Shower. It's a hybrid home office, complete with 6 powerful shower heads, Wi-Fi, 3 monitors, a copier, and a commercial-grade coffee machine. Paper clips to clean in your pits. You can have it all.
Folks, as things seem to change every day, several things remain the same. Quarter Moon quality service and fast, affordable help for all those plumbing and air conditioning issues that drive you nuts. One call to 210-651-5899 and we'll send an expert to your home or office and fix the issue fast and a fair price. No gimmicks, no hassle.
Boss, allow me to demonstrate. Ooh, 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 ah! Joe?
Yeah, I'm a little buddy.
This coffee tastes like soap.
Quarter Moon Plumbing, Heat, and AC. 210-651-5899. License number M13229 DACLA 000743458.
Giving you an excuse for a long lunch break. It's halftime with Rob Thompson and Carl Schoening on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
It's halftime. Thank you for tuning into our frequency, whether it be AM 1250 or 94.5 FM here in San Antonio, or whether you're joining us on the live stream, YouTube, Facebook Live. Very excited about this guest. About to start his professional career, fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, the grandson of the greatest. Nico Ali Walsh joins the show. Nico, thank you for taking the time.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Hey, you know, first off, I want to jump right into it. I've been trying to do some research, and it seems like as of a few days ago, your opponent for your first professional boxing match, which comes up this weekend, is still unknown. Have you figured out who you'll be fighting yet?
No, honestly, my team and my coach, Sugar Hill, we honestly been focusing just on training. So no matter who they put in front of me, Sugar is training me to be prepared for anybody.
Is that common here in your first fights? Do you have a 4-round match to get your professional career rolling?
Yeah, I mean, I would say so. I'm used to it as an amateur, just kind of showing up and seeing who's there.
Well, I imagine that makes it all the more exciting because you don't have any tape, so it's kind of a pure fighting boxing match here in that case.
Absolutely, and you know that's what he does with Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury was supposed to fight Anthony Joshua, but then it got switched to Deontay Wilder, and he had no problem. You know, they didn't change anything in camp that I know of, so it's just to be ready for absolutely anybody. I love that. I love that method of training.
Well, I'm sure you do because it makes things more exciting for everybody to be able to see what we have to do. So how are you feeling going into your first professional match?
I'm feeling extremely excited. I'm extremely confident. I'm so excited. I can't wait for Saturday, honestly.
And Nico, I know you haven't dealt with a lot of professional fights like this, but a lot of the times they are kind of set in months and even years in advance to where you have time to go over tape, learn tendencies. Yeah. How much does that help, and how much is not getting that in your first professional fight a disadvantage?
I don't even see it as a disadvantage, honestly, because my first professional fight isn't going to be against Mike Tyson. I know that, starting off. So yeah, I'm here. I'm training under Sugar Hill, and I know that I'll be prepared for anybody that I'm to face on Saturday.
Now, I'm a bit of a layman, so you might have to excuse the follow-up question afterwards, but how would you describe your boxing style to the casual boxing fan who maybe doesn't know the in-depth X's and O's?
Yeah, Sugar's actually given me a new style. It's a lot more movement. Footwork is key and balance is key. So I would just say he has a bit of an aggressive style, which I love. So I would say that's the style that I'm adapting now.
Nico, when you look at today's boxing and where it's headed as a sport versus what your grandfather dealt with, and you would see all the great fighters seeking each other out, trying to fight each other. And then we've had what we've had over the past, 10 years with Mayweather and Pacquiao trying to avoid fights and different fighters because maybe their camps don't like each other and it's Golden Boy or whatever it may be. But what do you see about the differences in how fighting was back when your grandfather did it versus what you're coming into and the way the fight game is right now? And is that good for the sport?
Well, everybody's different in terms of boxing. Boxing is more of a business now, I would say. And, you look at people like Sugar Ray Robinson, his record was like 174-19. And he had like 6 draws or something. And, people don't even remember that because, the losses and the draws, they don't matter because they remember how great his fights were. And I just think nowadays everyone is so stuck on trying to have an undefeated record by any means necessary, whether that is avoiding fights or, not taking the best fights that you can take. But, I like how back in the day that they wouldn't care. They would fight the best.
And I love to hear that from a boxer in general, because I think maybe we can blame Floyd Mayweather. Is that because he has that perfect record. He touts that perfect record. But at the end of the day, you win some and you lose some, but you hope to win more than you lose. Going into your first fight, you hope to be 1-0, but it's not going to tarnish your reputation or your career if you go 0-1.
No, I like I said, I believe quality over quantity. I don't know how many fights I'm going to have in my professional career, but if I'm fighting people, the likes of like Canelo, let's say, one of the greatest fighter of today's day and age, I would expect that there are going to be some hiccups and speed bumps. I'm not going to retire 60-0. If I do, then I know I didn't fight anybody. So that's just kind of the mentality that I take.
How much have you gone and watched of your grandfather's fights? And is there anything that you try and take from what he did to incorporate into what you're doing, especially now that you talk about switching styles?
Yeah, no, I've seen all of my grandfather's fights that were available to me. I love his footwork. I think everybody does. That's the biggest thing. I mean, it dazzles you almost. It looks like he's doing magic in there sometimes. So I love his footwork. And if I could emulate anything, it would be that.
Let's keep it with that surname there. Your last name is Walsh, but you've can you take us through the story of how you've incorporated Ali into that?
Yeah, no. So, obviously my grandfather changed his last name to Ali, back in the 60s. But yeah, no, my family's just Muslim. So we take pride in the Ali name, not just for, the reasons of my grandfather, but because it's a Muslim name. And so I guess my parents just wanted to keep that in my name and they made that my middle name.
Oh, okay. So it's your middle name. Okay, great. That makes sense. Okay. So if you could, just off the top of your head, do you have a favorite memory of your grandfather's career?
Of his boxing career?
Yes.
Honestly, me and him would always watch the Rumble in the Jungle together. I don't know why that's my favorite fight of his, but I would constantly put that on. So I would say that's my favorite moment of his career.
And your grandfather was also known as a poet. Do you happen to have any favorite rhymes that he dropped back in the day?
He made the shortest poem of all time, and it was 2 words. It said, me, we. And for some reason, that's always stuck with me. So I would say that's my favorite.
Nico Ali Walsh joining us on halftime here on San Antonio Sports Star. Nico, you have your first game coming up on your first match, coming up on Saturday in Tulsa. As we prepare fight week, how do you prepare for this upcoming your first professional match?
all I got to do is listen to my trainer and keep doing what I've been doing. I've had an amazing training camp, and I'm ready to rock and roll on Saturday.
As we lead into this match on Saturday, what is a fight week like for a fighter, especially entering their first fight, in terms of getting to weight and making sure everything's right as you go into Saturday night? Like, what's a week like for a professional boxer on fight week?
Well, honestly, my weight is right there. I'm right on weight. So I'm not worried at all about weight. In terms of everything else, this is my first time, so I would have to let you know in a couple of days what they have scheduled. But all I do is take orders from my coach, my trainer, and I have full faith and trust in him. So whatever he tells me to do this week, I'm going to do. But I'm ready to fight today. So that's the way he's prepared me.
His name is Nico Ali Walsh. He fights on ESPN this upcoming Saturday. Nico, thank you so much for joining the show. Good luck on Saturday, and good luck in your career. We'll be watching with great interest.
Thank you so much.
All righty. That was Nico Ali Walsh. He'll be fighting on ESPN once again. And, you know, I enjoy all those great little beginner boxing matches. I love boxing so much that I can watch almost any random fight. I don't know enough about boxing to talk any X's and O's or even the biggest names in the sport. Obviously, just being integrated into boxing, I know the biggest names, but when it comes down to it, I don't think I'm going to be able to name you the fifth contender, if you will.
I think my favorite thing about that entire interview was his reaction to how fighting is handled today versus how it was handled back in his grandfather's time. And I love hearing that he doesn't agree with ducking fights or trying to avoid for a perfect record or whatever it may be, that he is ready to take on any and all comers at any point in time. And that is a breath of fresh air when dealing with boxing in its current form.
Sign of a true brawler. I love it. That is a great interview. Thanks again to Nico Ali Walsh for joining the show. B on our YouTube feed says, awesome interview with Nico, ready to watch his debut. I'm going to tune into it as well. We have emotional vested interest in this now, Pledge. We have to figure out what time his card starts on Saturday.
I don't think that'll be that hard to figure out, especially with it being on the mothership.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I just want to catch that one. But obviously 4 rounds, I'm sticking around for all 4 rounds unless he ends it sooner. So I'm hoping he does.
I'm hoping he ends it soon.
That'll be fun.
I want him to start his professional career with an exclamation point.
And I want to get him back on after the fight too. Maybe he'll get a few fights under his belt before he comes back on to San Antonio Sports Star. But I really do appreciate him taking the time. That was a fun interview. So thanks for helping me out with that one on that one, Pledge, because you enjoy boxing as well, correct?
I enjoy it. I haven't liked the direction it's gone in recent years, but hearing what he said about wanting to change that gives me hope for the future if more fighters have that type of mindset.
Yeah, we didn't really even talk to him about the entertainment level of boxing these days with the YouTubers and the TikTokers all fighting each other. That we should have asked him about that. Darn.
I do like, because you speak of the entertainment aspect of it, Deontay Wilder is an entertainer. Like, I love watching the Wilder Fury fights. I love his coming down ringside entrances and all the get-ups he has. He is an entertainer, which makes his fights incredibly appeasing to watch.
Yeah, you have to have a certain flair to really capture the imagination of the casual fans like me.
His granddaddy had that flair.
Oh, he definitely did. Felt like a butterfly, sting like a bee. The hand can't hit what the eye can't see. I'm a bad man.
I'm a bad man.
And I'm pretty. And then Howard goes, oh, you're not that pretty. Yeah. The greatest. My dad's a Mike Frazier, Down Goes Frazier fan. Yeah,
Down Goes Frazier.
He probably won't be too excited to hear about this interview. But yeah, he's from Philly, so I get that. But yeah, again, that was Nico Ali Walsh joining the show. Hey, coming up next, we're kind of in the dog days of summer, Pledge. I want to know, what are you streaming to get you to the start of week 1 of the NFL season when everything gets rolling. Obviously, we have summer league and stuff, but that can't fill up your entire clock, although it can this week with the way things are going in Vegas. But I want to know what you're streaming. I want to hear from you guys on the stream of YouTube and Facebook Live. You can also hit us up on Twitter. I am at Carl ESPN. That's Carl with a K. He is at I Am Pledger. So hit us up. Let us know what you guys are streaming. We're going to talk about it on the other side of the break. This is San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
The Dallas Cowboys travel to the desert to take on the Arizona Cardinals in preseason action. Let's go! Friday night. Coverage starts at 8 on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Sports Center is brought to you by Kielbasa Slow Crafted Sausage, available at your local grocery stores.
It was a tough Sunday for Texas baseball teams that San Antonio might care about. The Astros dropped their final game of their series against the Twins 7-5, but they remain in first place of the AL West. Lance McCullers had a start to forget, giving up 4 runs in 4 2/3 innings. The Texas Rangers find themselves in an off day today after their series with Oakland wraps up with the A's sweeping the Rangers, taking all 3 games. Texas will start a 3-game series against Seattle before returning back to Arlington to take on the A's again in the friendly confines of Globe Life Park. And locally, San Antonio Missions dropped both games of a doubleheader in Amarillo, 4-0 in the first game and 2-1 in the nightcap. For San Antonio Sports Star, I'm Carl Schoening.
Stop living with that awful joint pain and don't let them tell you that surgery is your only option. Hey, it's James Pledger for San Antonio Sports Star here. Excited to tell you about QC Kinetics right here in Hollywood Park and Westover Hills. QC Kinetics is the leader in biologic therapies, regenerative solutions that can repair and restore damaged tissue in your joints with no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. Knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain, pain in your hips. Patients here are raving about getting lasting results from QC Kinetics. Call now to learn more at 210-571-0318. If you have chronic joint pain, don't assume the old treatments are the only treatments. Learn more about new biologic therapy options now available here. Restorative, regenerative joint treatments for joint pain. Finally, call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics at 210-571-0318. 210-571-0318. Get your life back without pain. 210-571-0318.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
O'Reilly. Do you even remember the last time you changed your spark plugs? Well, then now's a good time. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and get a $15 gift card after mail-in rebate when you purchase 4 or more select Iridium spark plugs. Put the pep back in your car. Visit your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store or shop O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
There's no place like Panera, where a bite of the toasty, saucy Chipotle chicken avocado melt tastes like, focaccia. A cool and refreshing strawberry poppy seed salad al fresco is so sweet. And a cheesy Chipotle chicken and bacon flatbread pizza in your favorite booth feels just right. So treat yourself, because there's no place like Panera. Order on the app today. Restrictions apply. Visit PaneraBread.com.
Howdy, San Antonio. Chip Ingram from the Roo Pub and the Angry Elephant, inviting you to come out and enjoy patio season. We have newly remodeled patios, garage doors, and everything else you need to enjoy this great South Texas weather. As always, ice cold beer and specialty drinks. Happy hours daily from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. And our kitchen is open from 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. See you soon at the Roo Pub and the Angry Elephant at 281 and Redland Road.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
When Heidi Andrews worked at another jewelry store and heard all the great things about Diamonds Direct, she thought it had to be too good to be true.
I didn't believe it at first. I thought maybe it was all talk. But, I definitely had clients that would come over and they would show me the receipts. I was like, wow, you got a really great deal and it's a beautiful piece. Good job. I had a little Diamonds Direct envy. I was very jealous.
That's when Heidi knew she had to leave the ordinary store and follow her customers to Diamonds Direct, where she can now offer more of everything, especially more value.
I have more to offer all of my clients in terms of any designer they need, any custom they need, any diamonds they need, any gemstones they need. We have it all. We have it at the best prices. We have it at the best quality. Here at Diamonds Direct, things are not too good to be true. Everything is true. When we say it, we give it to you, and you get exactly what you're asking for, or more.
Diamonds Direct. It's all true. Come see for yourself. Official jeweler of the Dallas Cowboys at the shops at La Cantera.
It's summer. That means grilling season. Jason and Rob here for Tri-County Meat Market. Get into one of their 2 locally owned Tri-County meat markets for the best meat for your grill. Tri-County has carefully selected certified prime Angus beef cuts, Wagyu, and upper choice, including their own homegrown Wagyu.
Tri-County has everything you need to up your grilling game, from beef, chicken, pork, fajitas, poppers, and more. Suck up on that 5 for $25 Tri-County Meat Market on Ralph Fair Road over on Heavener or online at tricountymeat.com.
Texas Rangers baseball.
Leo 1. Joey looks to bunt toward third. Nobody there. Base hit, Joey Gallo.
Texas Rangers baseball happens here. San Antonio's Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Hi, it's Jason Minix from the Blitz. You're listening to San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Halftime on San Antonio Sports Star. I'm Carl Schoening. He's James Pledger on the other side of the glass from me. It's the dog days of summer. If you're a sports fan, we're about to be over. Well, obviously Olympics helped out a lot, and this upcoming week with the Vegas Summer League, if you so choose to be a basketball junkie, this is
the
your
NBA
time.
season being pushed back, free agency, like the whole doldrums just went away this year. We've delved right into training camp.
But in terms of games that matter right now, you only have baseball. Is there something I'm missing? It's just baseball, right? In terms of wins and losses matter.
Sure.
Is that right? Okay. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing out on something, equestrian or something along those lines.
I mean, I don't know what part of the cricket season we're in, but
that's true. Yeah. We've been neglecting our cricket coverage here.
We really have. That's on us.
But if you're not somebody who's willing to watch 3 days of a cricket match, because sometimes, they pause for tea and crimpets if you're over in England.
We had the CONCACAF Gold Cup just recently.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And the Euros.
And that was a lot of fun, but we don't have that anymore. So all of a sudden, if you're a sports fan, now's a great time to catch up on your binge TV.
Okay.
What are you binging, Pledge?
Well, this is going to be an extremely busy month for me.
Okay, you got a list.
I've got a list. So starting this week, Marvel's new What If series drops on Disney Plus. So
wait, really? So they went from Loki to What If? Okay, and that's animated this time around,
animated,
right?
But it's going to be the last performance of Chadwick Boseman. He voices T'Challa in this.
Really?
You have the voice actors reprising their roles for the most part, and Wanda is voiced by
the Olsen sister.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So this is very, very. Jeff Goldblum's going to play the collector in one of them.
Jeff Goldblum. Oh, he plays the collector. Okay, he's not playing
not the collector, the Grandmaster.
The Grandmaster. Okay.
The collector will be reprised by Benicio del Toro. Like, this is going to be having the actors lend their voice to these characters during this show, and it's canon. Like, Disney has come out and said what's going to happen is the future, because this is right after the multiverse exploded in Loki. So,
see, if you're a Marvel fan, you're probably nerding out like we are. If you're not a Marvel fan, you've probably don't change the channel. Let's talk about something non-Marvel.
So, other than that, also dropping this week, not Marvel, but it's DC. Titans season 3 comes out, and I am very excited about this. This follows the Teen Titans and Dick Grayson's Nightwing character and the former Robins, and they're going to do a loose adaptation of the Red Hood story during this, which is the death of the second Robin, Jason Todd, and his rebirth as the Red Hood. Incredible story in the comics and also animated in the DC universe under the Red Hood. Great storyline. Can't wait to see what they do with that. Also, towards the end of this month, Archer releases its 12th season.
Wow, Archer's still on?
Archer is still on. Diz is on Hulu and FX. And yes, Archer is coming back for yet another season.
Crazy.
And I love the humor involved in this. It is an extremely well-written comedy series.
It is, yeah.
And I enjoy it so much, and I can't wait to see he is out of his coma. He is back, and everything is starting right, and I can't wait to see where it goes now.
That's a cult following.
It is. It really is.
I don't know too many people that watch Archer, but I've seen Archer, and I get the appeal. And I also get the people who maybe have no interest in watching animated shows. So we went 2 of 3 animated there. HBO Max for Teen Titans, right? Or Titans, rather.
For Titans. And speaking of HBO Max, I just watched Suicide Squad this weekend.
How was that?
It was actually very entertaining. It was a fun watch.
So do you need to watch Suicide Squad to watch The Suicide Squad?
Not really.
Because they've released 2 movies within 5 years of each other, right?
Not really. I mean, it continues the story, but it's not going to tie back to it other than bringing in characters already established like Rip Flag and Harley Quinn and Captain Boomerang.
Cool. I, staying on HBO Max, have been binge watching with my girlfriend Game of Thrones. We're getting back into that. Ted Lasso had its 2nd season come out on Apple.
I need to start that so bad.
It's worth the $5 investment for 1 month of Apple TV to binge watch Ted Lasso. You don't have to be a sports fan. You don't have to be a soccer fan. I think you just have to want to be in the mood for some comedy.
There are 2 things that are out now that I need to continue, like to start. And I know I'm behind the 8 ball on both of these. One of them is Ted Lasso. And that's just because I didn't have access to Disney Plus. The other is The Boys.
The Boys.
Surprisingly, I haven't seen The Boys on Amazon.
I've never even heard of it.
It's a fantastic show. I hear it is incredibly well written. It is a darker take on superheroes.
Okay. Well, I guess that'll wrap up our non-sports segment of the day. What are you streaming? Let us know on Twitter. I'm at Carl ESPN. Hey, we got something from Prince Obi-Wan, X-Files. That's cool. They're not making new X-Files, are they?
No, but it's always good to go back and watch that.
Okay, that's cool. And Survivor. And they're making new Survivors right now, but there's a whole binge of the entire reality TV show that you can watch, right?
Yeah, and RJ Ochoa is a huge Survivors guy.
Okay. Yeah, it's, geez, that's been around at least 20 years now.
What's the one that was on NBC, got taken off, and I think Netflix just picked it off? What is it? Manifest, I believe it is?
Yes, I've heard that's good.
I've heard
my
that's
girlfriend
really
watches it.
good.
I have not seen an episode of it.
I have not either, but I've heard great things about it, and it makes me intrigued to at least start it.
If I'm not mistaken, it's something along the lines of a plane went missing, and then it landed 5 years later, and everybody has to deal with the fallout of it.
And the weird thing is, everybody that disappeared on that plane, and you have like family members that went their separate ways, the plane that left did not age.
Okay, teasers there. Hey, find out what you need to start streaming. Hit us up. I'm Carl at Carl ESPN. It's Carl with a K. He's at I Am Pleasure. This is San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. When we come back on the other side, Doug McDermott officially joins the Spurs. We also have some sports books popping up all over the place and more here on Halftime. Let's not forget, though, hey, we have a Hunters Extravaganza that you can take part in, the Texas Trophy Hunters Association. It's the 2021 Hunters Extravaganza that takes place August 20th through the 22nd at the Freeman Coliseum Expo Hall. It's the only real hunting show of Texas. For details, online tickets, visit huntersextravaganza.com. At Texas Trophy Hunter Production, you can go ahead and give Pledge a call on the Kielbasa Bacon phone lines, and that's 210-656 ESPN 210-656-3776. And let's just go and make it caller 1, caller 2. Be fast with those fingers.
However you want to do it. Be fast with the fingers. Caller 2?
Caller 2 it is. If you get in first, I'm sorry. That'll do it here for the first half of halftime on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. Here
we go. The Dallas Cowboys live here all season long. Every snap.
I love it.
Every catch.
Let's go every day, huh?
Every touchdown. Plus, we'll give you the complete breakdown and preview of every game from our experts. Dallas Cowboys insiders and head coach Mike McCarthy. We're all fans.
Yeah! Yeah!
Hear the call from Brad Sham and the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. Right here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Prescription products require an online consultation. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
When my husband started having trouble in the bedroom, I thought, is it me?
But then we found forhims.com, and now our sex life is
better than ever.
Forhims.com connects you to doctors online who can prescribe FDA-approved ED medication if appropriate. Then, Hims ships right to your door in discreet packaging. Just go to forhims.com/better to get your first visit free.
It was great to get what I need online without scheduling an appointment or going into the doctor's office.
Hims offers the same active ingredient as name brands and costs 90% less.
I couldn't believe how fast, easy, and inexpensive it was.
Rise to the occasion or get your money back. Go to forhims.com/better to get your first visit free. No copay required. The only way to get this special offer is to go to forhims.com/better. forhims.com/better.
The granddaddy of all hunting shows returns to San Antonio. The 2021 Hunters Extravaganza, August 20th through the 22nd at the Freeman Coliseum Expo Hall. Bring the kids and see Gator Country's huge alligators and last season's bucks in our annual deer contest. Check out the latest in hunting gadgets and gear and enter our locked and loaded mega giveaway to win big. August 20th through the 22nd at the Freeman Coliseum Expo Hall. For details and tickets, go to huntersextravaganza.com. A Texas Trophy Hunters production.
This is a big deal. Now at healthcare.gov, millions more people can afford health coverage. Due to the COVID relief law, 4 out of 5 customers can get a plan for under $10 a month with financial help. From doctor visits to preventive services to prescription drugs, these are quality plans. You can do this. Sign up by August 15th for a health plan. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Oh, according to research, 82% of people remember radio ads. That means that 82% of you listening right now will remember that this is an ad for ZipRecruiter. If you're hiring, 82% of you will recall that ZipRecruiter makes hiring faster and easier. And 82% of you will note that you can try ZipRecruiter for free today. But you have to go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio, like where this ad plays. 82% of you will keep in mind that ZipRecruiter's technology finds qualified people for your job and actively invites them to apply.
Scott, is that you? Who are you talking to?
82% of you will also know that I live with my mom. But the most important thing to note is that ZipRecruiter works. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Will you be part of the 82% who remember where you can try ZipRecruiter for free? It's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Again, that exclusive link is ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Yes, radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
While most water providers do a pretty good job making sure they exceed EPA guidelines, did you know EPA standards for tap water have not been updated in almost 20 years? With growing concerns of our aging infrastructure, more homeowners want to take their water quality into their own hands. That is why you should call Alamo Water Softeners and have them give you a free water analysis. Some chemicals and contaminants are undetectable. Discover the Alamo Water Softeners difference. Go to alamowatersofteners.com. That's alamowatersofteners.com.
Are you stuck in a timeshare you want out of? Tired of wasting thousands of dollars? The Titan Exit Group wants to give you a free consultation on how you can be legally released from your timeshare contract. Stop the mortgage payments, cancel the never-ending maintenance fees, and terminate your timeshare. Call for your free consultation now at 800-200-0894. Get legally released from your timeshare. The call and consultation are absolutely free. Call 800-200-0894. 800-200-0894.
For the ones standing guard, for the eagle-eyed, for the knights in shining armor, and for all those who support them. We are Grainger, your experienced safety partner, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, committed to helping keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com/safety, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The home of the Rangers. This is Rangers Radio on KCDC. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. Rob Thompson. Carl Schoening. Halftime.
It's halftime on San Antonio Sports Star. We're halfway through halftime. If you're just taking your lunch break, get in your car, thank you guys for tuning into our frequency, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. I'm Carl Schoening. No Rob Thompson today. James Pledger's the other voice you'll be hearing on the show. He's working hard back there, making sure everything's going. Big thanks to Yin Yang Twins for their intro, also known as Halftime. Played before most of the San Antonio Spurs games when they were winning championships. Those were good times. Brings back a lot of fond memories.
Somebody had a hand in that, right?
And making sure that this was the theme song for the show?
Uh-huh.
Absolutely.
Well, I meant somebody was in charge of making sure it was the pregame.
I'm going to guess it's Tim Duncan's favorite song of all time, because occasionally they would throw in a new song. They would try something new out. And I've noticed it was not they returned back to halftime by the next time the Spurs played at the AT&T Center or the SBC Center or whatever it was. That was probably Tim Duncan. I'm going to go ahead and assume it was Tim. Tim, if you're listening, let us know. We'd love to have you on to talk about it.
I mean, it would make sense that your most important player would have the biggest voice and what he wanted to hear as he warmed up.
It gets the people going.
As long as it gets him going, that's all that really mattered.
That's true, but I think everybody knew what time it was. It wasn't halftime. It was tip-off time in San Antonio. Somebody somewhere probably got tired of it, but whoever really makes the decisions, which is a fair guess, was Tim Duncan. They definitely made sure that kept going for a long time. So the Spurs over the weekend, I want to give them credit. They kept this quiet. I didn't see Woj tweet it out. I didn't see Shams or Chris Haynes tweet it out, and I get their notifications to my phone. The Spurs and the Pacers kept it quiet that the McDermott signing, the Doug McBuckets,
Dougie McBuckets.
It was not actually an outright sign. It became a sign and trade, which gave the Pacers a trade exception, and the Spurs were able to pick up a pick swap and a second rounder out of that. I think they sent over a protected second round pick. So should the Spurs be something like, I think, a top 10, top 15 team, the Pacers get to pick that up. But I think that was a nice move. Shows that Brian Wright is making some inroads with other GMs. And he's willing to play, some GM moves that maybe we didn't see coming. That was obviously a big deal. So McBuckets officially announced as a Spur. That means Spurs PR, great. At Airless Jordan on Twitter, Jordan Hallenstein can tweet out some of those fun facts. I always enjoy his fun facts. Only 9 active players with 600-plus three-pointers while shooting over 40% from long range in their career. Doug McDermott's at the top of the list because obviously he was the big signing here. But no other particular order. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, J.J. Redick, Danny Green, Buddy Hield, Joe Ingles, Joe Harris, and Davis Bertans. Those are some sharp shooters that McDermott has company in. And also Jordan had another tweet that Spurs forward Doug McDermott is only one of 10 players in the NBA to make over 100 three-pointers while shooting over 50% from the floor last season. So the Spurs not only getting a sniper, they're getting a scorer that can go efficiently. I think that this was the pickup of the offseason. I know you're a Lowry Markkanen fan. His fate's still up in the air.
I also had Doug McDermott high on my list.
You did.
I wanted them to surround with as many shooters as possible this offseason. Doug McDermott was there. Bobby Portis was there. Lauri Markkanen was there. If you shot over 40% from three, I wanted the Spurs to bring them in because that was what this team missed last year. You saw a correlation with them shooting well from behind the arc and blowing teams like Phoenix and Milwaukee out. and them playing poorly from behind the arc, and in retrospect, either being involved in close games or getting blown out themselves.
So he was introduced to media, and we got a few quotes here I'd like to play here. So I think this was Saturday, maybe.
You talked about him and some of his stats and the company he keeps. Well, McDermott told you exactly what he's bringing to the Spurs roster.
I think I'll bring a ton of shooting, spacing for the young guys. And, I think one of my strengths is being able to move without the ball, really put pressure on the defense that way. So I think just my overall presence moving around out there can put a lot of pressure on the defense and hopefully give guys some room to create and attack.
That's what they need. You were spot on a few moments ago when you were talking about shooting. The departure of Davis Bertans, and obviously we know the whole Marcus Morris story. He would have been a good floor spacer for the team. You did leave a pretty big gap in what the Spurs need and what NBA teams in general need, which is scoring.
You saw it during the regular season. Teams became less fearful of the Spurs from deep, and they started packing the paint because you have a bunch of slashers. Keldon likes to get to the rim. You have DeMar, who lives and thrives in the mid-game. Jakob Poeltl's not expanding the floor. You got Lonnie Walker and DeJounte Murray, who both like to attack the rim. Teams stopped respecting them on the perimeter, and therefore they would pack the paint, which made it extremely hard for the Spurs offense to get buckets consistently.
Yeah, I know Lonnie has that athleticism. He has those quick twitch handles, but his strength, and I think that's been his strength since he was at Miami, is that three-point shot. And if he could work that up to 36 to 38% this year and become a volume three-point shooter, which is hard. It's easy to, and those only good look attempts get to 36 to 37. And I say it's easy. It's not really that easy. But if he could be a 5 to 7 3-point shot attempts per game kind of guy, Lonnie Walker could probably step into that Patty Mills role pretty easily.
Yeah, I would hope so. I think that's kind of why Bryn Forbes was also brought back, is to kind of provide not just the leadership that you're losing in Patty and knowing kind of the Spurs way, but also he's a sniper. He brings 3-point spacing and opening up the lane for those other guys that I mentioned. And that's what Doug McDermott will do. That's Thaddeus Young helps to expand things. Jock Landale helps to expand out past the 3-point line, because you saw that he is over a 38% career 3-point shooter. And in 2019, I want to say he shot 46% from three. So you see them.
You're talking about Jock?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
in Australia, but still, to do that anywhere is impressive.
Exactly. And so it's one of those things where you see this offseason, they've brought in a lot of players that can help to at least expand the offense out beyond the perimeter and open up the spacing on the floor. It looks like spacing was a huge thing when it came to the Spurs offseason this year.
And I want to point out that Bryn Forbes has turned himself into an undrafted free agent, to somebody who over the last 3 years has scored more than 10 points per game when he sees the floor. So if you go back to that 2018-2019 season, Bryn shot, let me double check here. Look at this. I need to get eyeglasses, I guess. But he shot 42.5% from three. That year, he played like a $9 million a year player. He didn't quite match that efficiency going into his contract year. He goes ahead and wins a ring in Milwaukee. I'm sure Giannis had a lot more to do with that, but still, he gets a ring when he returns to Milwaukee. I love the Bryn signing. That's a team chemistry move. That is showing that maybe he was somewhat the forgotten part of this whole rebuild, retool process, but I'm happy that he comes back, and he'll be a sniper for the Spurs, a floor spacer for sure.
It's a team chemistry move in terms of you lost Amar, you lost Rudy Gay, you're losing Patty Mills, who was the epitome of knowing the Spurs way, the Spurs culture, and being able to instill that. That's what Bryn Forbes helps to bring along with his floor spacing. He's going to assume the mentorship role, I believe, of Patty Mills this offseason, or this upcoming season.
So let's backtrack back to McBuckets, though. McDermott I think we have a second sound in there, right? So
yep.
He mentioned a little bit about just what the outside looking in thinks of the Spurs. I believe that's this cut right here. Go ahead and play it, Pledge.
It's like a dream come true, just growing up watching all those teams, win championships, always kind of, modeled my game after, being a guy in this type of system. So, it's just it's really a dream come true. This is a gold standard of the league here. So just really excited to be here.
Hot Shot producing by James Pledger. He got that sound for me in 2 minutes right before the break, or right before the break ended. So thank you for pulling that sound, Pledge. But that is what I think a lot of teams think of the Spurs. A lot of players, I should say, think of the Spurs. A lot of teams think that too. The Spurs are a gold standard. I know it's been a couple years since they made the playoffs, but you as a player want to be here because you'll be put in the best situation to maximize your talents. And that's something he touched on as a shooter who likes to come off a lot of actions. He's not necessarily a catch and shoot guy. He can do that, but McDermott is most effective when you're running him off screens and making him somebody who moves around. That'll instantly make the Spurs a much more dangerous half-court team. And on the fast break, watch for him to spot up and take advantage of open looks in transition. That is a sneaky good signing. And if you had asked me at the beginning of the offseason, if you had your pick between McDermott, Markkanen, Kelly Oubre, I might have knee-jerked and said Markkanen, but now and I know you're looking at me with some eyes.
No,
but
I like I said, I've been very high on Doug McDermott this whole offseason.
And he's a good defender as well. Let's not leave that out of the equation. He's 29, so he brings some veteran presence to this young team. Brian Wright probably surprised some people by making him the first call that they had in, or at least contract that was agreed to in the offseason. But it's perfect for what this team needs because it also shows the investment into the youth. You're not bringing in somebody else that will really take away too many opportunities for the players that need the ball in their hands to have the ball out of their hands, because McDermott is more of a, hey, as soon as I touch the ball, I'm going to look for that open shot or make the right play to pass up a bad look. And that's what you love to see from any of your guys, but especially your shooters.
There's still 19 players under contract if you include Daquan Jeffries.
Got waived, apparently, according to Keith Smart of Yahoo. So
this weekend?
Yeah, the other day, yesterday.
Okay. After Summer League?
After
Salt Lake?
Yeah, and that doesn't mean that Jeffries won't be on Austin or get picked up by somebody else.
18 players under contract on this roster as you head into camp, and it has to be whittled down to 15.
It's a tough situation, but you get the feeling the Spurs aren't done.
Exactly.
What are they going to do with Chandler Hutchinson?
They're not just going to cut these players, right?
Yeah. I would say if there's cuts, it would have to be Chandler Hutchinson and Al-Farouq Aminu, and you're probably talking $14 million right there that you don't do anything with.
And you're still looking at one more cut.
I agree. Yeah, exactly. I don't know what the Spurs do exactly, but
that doesn't include Wieskamp on any deal, whether two-way or.
Yeah, I assume he's a two-way guy.
I assume so too, but it doesn't account for him.
Well, the funny thing about those two-ways, any second-round pick in general, to retain his rights, you have to offer him something. And if he accepts that and goes into the NBA training camp with a non-guaranteed deal, I think he maybe shows that he is obviously looking to make an NBA roster immediately. If he goes in with a two-way contract, that shows that the Spurs are investing in his future.
And to be fair, I understand that it's not going to count across the 15 that you're going to have to carry into the season, but I'm just saying in terms of you still got one more after Hutchison and Al-Farouq Aminu. There's still one more you have to make a decision on after that. And you still have guys like Wieskamp who you have to make a decision on eventually with a two-way that won't count, but you're eventually going to bring him up and down at some point from Austin, it feels like.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of those two-way contracts. I'm not going to make you wear a chain for the Wieskamp comment, Wieskamp, but don't get me saying Wieskamp. It's Wieskamp.
It's Wieskamp.
It's Wieskamp. Joe Wieskamp. And he's going to be playing in the Las Vegas Summer League that gets rolling for the Spurs tonight at 6 o'clock on ESPNU. We talked about it all in the first hour. If you want to go back to the AA Best Bail Bonds audio vault to watch or listen to the first hour, you can obviously use the DVR function of YouTube to rewind backwards to that first hour. It was a great show. That first hour, we're looking to have a better show this second hour. So let's talk about that real quick. Is there a move that you can conceivably see the Spurs making that includes somebody that would be a sort of a 3-for-1 deal where the Spurs can lose 2 players off of their roster and bring back somebody who has a higher salary? Are there any players other than Ben Simmons? Obviously, everybody's thinking about the Ben Simmons trade. Is there somebody?
Think about Ben Simmons, though, because all the reports is that, Golden State, Indiana, Portland all have more enticing options to offer to Philadelphia than do the San Antonio Spurs. I mean, as high as you can be on whether it's DeJounte or Derek or even Lonnie, you have to admit Wiseman, whether it's Kuminga and Moody, CJ McCollum, Malcolm Brogdon, all better pieces than what the Spurs can offer.
Or the Spurs will offer if you
Exactly.
get to that point where it's, hey, would you trade Keldon Johnson for Ben Simmons? Probably not. However,
I will say there is a sneaky availability out there now to where I'm not sure what it would cost to get him, but the Raptors have made it known that Pascal Siakam is available.
They drafted Scotty Barnes for 4th overall, and that is an interesting consolation prize. Ben Simmons costs too much. You don't want to mortgage your future, even though he has 4 years left on his contract. It's also a big contract, and there were times during the playoffs that Philadelphia couldn't have him on the floor. That's what you're talking about when you're talking about Ben Simmons. Wouldn't be a bad trade unless they give up too much, obviously. So that's a good point. Pascal Siakam was a name that I was looking for when I was asking you that question of who is a dark horse that the Spurs maybe do a 2-for-1 kind of thing.
And maybe if you can get in on other teams trying to acquire, whether it's Siakam or Lillard or Ben Simmons as part of a 3-teamer, that would also involve Sacramento, to which you could get back Marvin Bagley. I wouldn't be mad about that either.
And Sacramento has been interested in Ben Simmons too. And here's the thing. You guys were talking about it last week with me, and I kind of disagreed, but I didn't formulate the argument until a little later. You know how that goes. Usually these players who make trade demands have a say in where they go.
Absolutely.
So usually, though, we're talking about players that have a 1.5 2 years left on their contracts when they make this demand, and thus, do you give up so much of your future for a guy you might have on a rental? We're talking about 4-year contracts here with Damian Lillard and Ben Simmons. So it's a little different because what are they going to do? Sit out the next place that they go and then demand another trade? They can't do that. The NBA would step in. I don't know what they would do, but just once, I wish these guys who get traded, they would have their bluff called. You know that Kawhi was not sitting out another year in Toronto, right?
Sure.
You can't just sit out after sitting out a whole year or demanding a trade. Thus, you need to sit out. If you don't go where you want to go, your contract has to have some kind of you are going to play if you are physically able. Too bad you demanded a trade out of one situation and you're put in another one you don't like. The NBA, and I imagine it'll be at the next collective bargaining agreement, is probably going to do something about these trade clauses or these trade demands. I don't know what it is, but you know that the owners have been talking about how do we handle this epidemic that they're going through.
Well, the problem is the NBA Players Association has a lot of pull and say, and they just elected a new head, and he is a person that has been involved in a lot of these trade rumors, and CJ McCollum. So I'm not sure if the Players Association wants to give up the hand that they have in terms of being able to dictate where they go.
That'll be an interesting conversation for CBA negotiations. Whenever that is, I think the NBA is a long-term CBA contract right now, but down the road, I get the feeling that the owners have one thing, and that's to make sure that if you sign a contract with them, you fulfill it. That's just my guess. I don't know anything other than it makes sense to me that too many fans have had their heart broken over trade demands. And you know, I don't think Damian Lillard's demanded a trade, but if he did that, Portland fans would be heartbroken. They've invested so much into Dame Lillard.
And I don't know if Dame wants to do that per se. You know, I think that he has a good standing, not just with the organization in Portland, but also currently with the fans. Like, the fans love Dame and Dame loves the fans in Portland.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's trying to do everything he can to avoid forcing his way out of there.
That's a different situation up there, but I think Rudy J mentioned it this morning. You could just tell that Dame Lillard was not himself during the Olympics, and maybe it was that he's distracted with this whole ordeal.
Well, it's not just that he was distracted. As soon as the gold medal was announced, he's been dealing with a groin injury. Like, he's actually injured right now.
That explains so much. That really does. And obviously he played through it, and that we got to give him credit for that, because it's never fun, and they're not getting paid to play these games. He has a $30 million contract a year that he's going through. So thank you for throwing that up there, because Damian Lillard played through an abdominal injury. Okay. And though you need your abs for everything, you need your abs to balance. That explains so much. Okay. Kudos for that not getting out during the Olympic run either, because he might have been attacked a lot more on defense had that been known. And I think the Team USA did still need him. All right, well, that's enough talk for now on Summer League. I think we've gotten through most of the points. The Spurs in general, yeah, we're always going to talk Summer League here on halftime. But coming up here, we have sportsbooks popping up everywhere. Wrigley Field and State Farm Stadium in Arizona. Let's get our thoughts on that. Also, some great Jay Glazer sound on what this Dak Prescott injury really is, because that's sort of the shrouded in mystery question of the offseason. Is Dak okay? And then a little bit later, we will wrap it up and talk Summer League again, of course. All right, this is halftime here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Rangers on the radio.
Here's the pitch and the ground ball left side. Diving Culberson, he's got it. Throws to second in time for the force on Walsh.
It's San Antonio's favorite addiction.
And there's a high drive, well hit left center field. Way back at the wall, Lewis and Trammell, and it is history. A 3-run Jimmy Jack for Adolis Garcia.
Go ahead. Have another hit. San Antonio Sports Star. ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
O'Reilly. Syntec is back and better than ever at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Syntec is a premium full synthetic motor oil at an affordable price. Right now, get 5 quarts of Syntec full synthetic and a Wix filter for just $31.99. Plus, earn double O Rewards points. Minimize friction, heat, and wear on your engine with Syntec full synthetic motor oil exclusively at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Don't get caught in this San Antonio heat with no AC. Save Service First AC Repair in your phone and have an AC tech on speed dial 24/7. 521-1500. For a limited time, save Service First AC Repair in your contacts and get half off your service call and a free summer tune-up. For more details, call 521-1500. That's 521-1500. Service First AC Repair and Plumbing.
Have Service First in your phone. 521-1500.
License number TACLA 27100C.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Hey, happy hours back at Twin Peaks. Get up here Monday through Friday from 2 to 7 and score sweet deals like $1 off all wine, liquor, cheap shots, and freezing cold 29-degree draft brews. Are you feeling snacky? We also have select apps available for $2, $4, and $6. Cheers!
Ad paid for by CompleteCar.com.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to the COVID crisis, we are announcing a low-cost extended service plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay nothing for auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay nothing for auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-549-1985 now. Drivers who are covered by this auto protection will not have to pay for a covered repair bill again. This auto coverage is at an all-time low, much lower than what dealerships are charging. Additionally, drivers who activate this auto coverage today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and free rental car at no additional cost. Call for your free quick quote today. 800-549-1985. 800-549-1985. What do you have to lose? Again, 800-549-1985.
Did you know there's dust floating around your home?
Really?
Yeah. Dust starts on hard surfaces like shelves and ceiling fans. And when you walk by, dust starts to move, compromising the quality of the air you and your family breathe.
So what do I do?
Get Swiffer Heavy Duty Duster. Swiffer Heavy Duty Duster is the fast and easy way to trap and lock dust.
Before it gets into the air.
Exactly. So you can just... Swiffer Heavy Duty Duster, proud partner of the American Lung Association.
Prescription products require an online consultation. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
When my husband started having trouble in the bedroom, I thought, is it me?
But then we found forhims.com, and now our sex life is
better than ever.
Forhims.com connects you to doctors online who can prescribe FDA-approved ED medication if appropriate. Then, Hims ships right to your door in discreet packaging. Just go to forhims.com/better to get your first visit free.
It was great to get what I need online without scheduling an appointment or going into the doctor's office.
Hims offers the same active ingredient as name brands and costs 90% less.
I couldn't believe how fast, easy, and inexpensive it was.
Rise to the occasion or get your money back. Go to forhims.com/better to get your first visit free. No copay required. The only way to get this special offer is to go to forhims.com/better. forhims.com/better.
Drawing up the game plan for the second half of the day. It's halftime with Rob Thompson and Carl Schoening on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Halftime on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and AM and 94.5 FM. I'm Carl Schoening. He's James Pledger. Thank you all for tuning into our frequency or joining us on the live stream, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook. That's my preferred way of watching all of our shows.
Yeah, I like YouTube. As you can tell during R&R in the morning, I like to kind of throw it on while I'm working out, put it over in the corner, and then if something happens, I can just pick it up and easily side screen it, add a comment if I want. It's the most functional way that I've found to consume the show when doing other things.
Rudolph Renee actually chimes in here. One of the cool things we do on the live stream is we can show your comment, whether it be from Facebook or YouTube. And he says owners can trade when they want. That's the other side, maybe no more than that 2-year contracts. And I guarantee you the Players Association would say no to that. That's not, we're talking about NBA trades.
Give me my money.
Yeah. You want that guaranteed money. You're not going to go backwards. And I think the real trick here is early termination options need to come into play. Sure, you end your contract on a player option, but 2 years into it, if you're not feeling it or if the landscape of the NBA has changed to where you can opt out of a 2-year contract, don't demand a trade.
And we already have that, though, as you see both with player and team options. Of course, Kawhi most famously using his player option to opt out to get more money that he feels was deserved. Didn't change locations, but he was able to accrue more money just by opting out of the 36 and getting more via his next deal.
You know what's going to cause player salaries to boom in American professional sports over the next few years?
TV contracts.
No, TV contracts are already happening. This is a segue. As I've been told, we do segues in the radio business, and this is a segue. gambling money.
Ooh.
If leagues
the
get
dirty, seedy underbelly of Las Vegas.
yeah, and now we're starting to shed some light on this to where it can spread into the entire world. The beginning of fantasy sports essentially created the casual gambler. And be careful that doesn't turn into a big addiction. If you know somebody that has an issue with gambling, talk to them. Give them some help, because this is a serious thing. I almost equate it to the equivalent of
tell them
alcohol.
To stop betting on losers.
Right. Yeah. But I almost can equate this to any other addiction. You can get addicted
Absolutely.
to something, and as arbitrary as money is, it's still very useful and important in people's lives. And I'll tell you what, Adam Sandler's movie, what was that one that he did where he was a gambler?
Oh, the one with Kevin Garnett?
Yes. Uncut Gems, is that what it was? Uncut Gems?
I knew it was about diamonds, but yes.
Adam, I'm not going to ruin it for y'all, but Adam Sandler basically plays a addicted gambler.
A degenerate?
Yeah, if you so must use those words. It was the most stressful movie I have ever seen.
Really?
I have never felt stress watching a movie until I watched that movie. And that must be how gamblers feel. They're just worried about, is this next parlay going to hit? One thing goes wrong and you lose your entire how many ever hundreds of thousands of dollars. I don't get the people that drop $500 on the nose of a horse, right?
If you have the money to drop, that's different.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course. We're talking about people who probably don't have the money to drop.
There we go.
And it's an addiction, and we're starting to see it pop up a little bit more, or at least be embraced by these sports leagues. Mm-hmm. Wrigley is going to have on the southeast corner of Wrigley Field a sports book that'll, I think, be open 24/7, and you can get into the stadium, the Wrigley Field, through the sports book. You don't need a ticket to the game to get in either. And next thing you know, we're going to be betting on European canoeing in America because it is just the easiest thing to make money off of.
What's the line on that, by the way?
I'm sure it's out there. We're about to head into this phase where gambling is going to be widespread legalized, and we have to figure out, what does that actually mean for these players? I want to kind of get into the dark, cynical side of things. There's probably going to be players that are caught gambling because it is easier to do. But on the other side of it, I think some of these gamblers, and going back to that Adam Sandler movie at least, maybe they're a little insane. You never know. You already see too much crazy stuff on social media. But now we're talking about potential of, this guy says to LeBron James, hey, I just bet my house on the Lakers. You don't lose. That could almost be considered a threat.
I mean, sure, but it feels, especially with the light shined more on gambling and it being done in more public places like this, that the underbelly side of it has kind of had the light shined on it. Because in terms of, everybody's been gambling on sports.
That's right.
Legally or illegally. This has been a thing. It is just now more widely available and actually out in the open. And I think its openness will lead to less of the threats. There was
a World Series in the 1920s that was fixed, right? Some gamblers actually...
The Chicago Black Sox.
Yeah, some gamblers actually got to 6 or 7 of the players and basically, Shoeless Joe Jackson, right? They told them to throw the series. And I just hope that side of gambling remains in the past, because I could just see super rich multi-billionaire.
It's more corporated now. Like back then, and even through the 70s and 80s, it was more of a in the shadows, you're gambling offshore, whatever it may be. It is more out in the open than it's ever been. And the fact that it's out in the open, I believe, will lead to less altercations, because it's going to be more widely available to people. You can tell if you can't go into a sports book and place a bet if you're an athlete, because you're going to get caught on camera. You can't do it over the phone because your phone's funds can be traced. Like, it's going to be easier to track now that it is more mainstream than it was.
I just, I hope it's not the case, but let's say Lamar Jackson. I'm just throwing out a name because we're going to segue into Lamar Jackson here in a bit. Lamar Jackson knows that the spread is Baltimore plus 12. Let's go plus 12. So they need to win by 2 touchdowns to cover the spread, right? Let's say he knows it's late in the game and he can throw an intentional pick 6 because he told his friend, "Hey, I'm going to, lend you $100,000 to place on this." Let's not say Lamar Jackson. Let's just say quarterback A here in this scenario. But do you see something like that
You got
maybe
down
coming
that
into
driveway
play?
and found out that you were going down a path that was like, well, I should stop this right now.
I love Lamar Jackson. You have him right up on my screen. That's why he's the first quarterback to come into play. But you get where I'm going with this, right?
I do.
As it's becoming more widespread, I just feel like there's going to be a story out there. The Cardinals have at State Farm Stadium a sports book that's popping up. Soon you'll be able at halftime, as we just remind you're listening to halftime here on San Antonio Sports Star. At halftime, you'll be able to go to the sports book and say, "Hey, I think the Cardinals are going to actually make a comeback here. I'm going to put 100, on it because whatever." It's going to be something that'll be more popular and more widespread. And I don't even know if it's for better or for worse, but it's something that I've seen in the headlines the last couple of days. I just thought it deserved 2 minutes of what is the future of sports gambling going to look like here in the United States.
You also have to remember the NBA had its own issues with Tim Donaghy.
Tim Donaghy, yeah.
And that really cost Tim Donaghy, and he ended up doing actual hard time for that. So I don't know if players are going to risk what they can make career earnings wise and post-career earnings wise by trying to fix a game that could land them in jail and losing all of their possible income versus just going out. And if they do what they do, they're going to be set for the rest of their lives.
I don't think it'll be widespread, but if that guy on the Sharks, I forget his name, you know who I'm talking about. He just, I didn't know who he was 3 weeks ago. He made headlines for being, I think, something ridiculous, $27 million in debt. And his estranged wife or girlfriend said something along the lines of he bet on NFL games. And that had been rumored before. NHL games. So, the league he plays in. So that had been reported somewhat before. I'm talking one out of an entire league. Somebody's going to have this happen, and they might get caught, especially in this information exchange world. Before we hit the break, though, I did want to talk about this headline that you shared with me. That's an interesting one. Lamar Jackson, not gambling on sports, said that he's talking to team doctors about, quote unquote, learning about the COVID-19 vaccine. And I appreciate that. For whatever reason, he was skeptical. And then in July, with the vaccine available to him before that, he tested positive. And I think this is a fantasy site. I thought that there was a funny little anecdote they threw in. Does the fact that it's public information that he's unvaccinated hurt his fantasy stock? And my main point is just get vaccinated, Lamar. Why won't you start in all 17 games this season?
Well, the fact that he's actually, and to be fair, being vaccinated is no guarantee of not missing a game.
That's true.
Because you can be vaccinated
you can
and
still test positive.
You can test positive, but it greatly reduces the risk that you end up in the hospital. And that's the point of the vaccination, plus the recovery time. You have to be out for 2 weeks if you're unvaccinated. You can test negative a lot sooner if you're vaccinated.
Yes, because I don't know the science, and I read about it one time, and it made me realize how far away I am from any kind of medical degree. But apparently, though, when the virus attacks you as an individual, it's gotten into your muscular system. It's spreading internally. However, if you're vaccinated, it's not likely to hit that point, but it can still be in your nose and mouth where you get tested, and thus you can test positive but not really have any effects. And since you're not showing symptoms, you might not be able to transmit it as well. However, I did read that if they were to eliminate it from the mouth and the nose with a vaccine, you'd be dead in like 24 hours because that's not something you can eliminate those micro organelles from, because it needs moisture and apparently something along those lines. Like I said, I'm not a doctor over here, and
try not to play one on radio either.
It went
I'm
really
confused.
It went really confusing really fast. Like apparently, if they were to eliminate the chances of it getting in your nose and mouth, you'd be dead. So just because you're vaccinated and you test positive doesn't mean necessarily you have COVID. You just have it in your mouth and nose.
It is the same as the flu. Just because you're vaccinated from the flu does not mean you cannot contract the flu. It lessens the possibility of the symptoms being as severe as they could be. It's a vaccination, not an inoculation.
Yes. Well, stay safe, everybody. This Delta variant, it ain't no joke. You see some crazy things going on in New York City and overseas and all kinds of things just with what's going on. We're almost done with the show. We do want to talk about Dak Prescott's injury. Jay Glazer gave us some great insights, and then we'll wrap it up with maybe a couple thoughts as what we expect Josh Primo and Devin Vassell to do in tonight's NBA Summer League game from Las Vegas as the Spurs take on the Timberwolves. I'm Carl Schoening. He's James Pledger. This is Halftime on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
The Dallas Cowboys travel to the desert to take on the Arizona Cardinals in preseason action.
Let's go!
Friday night. Coverage starts at 8 on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM. ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
This confirms it. The wait is over. How about that? The original number 88 being presented for enshrinement in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
That's right, Cowboys fans. Some of the fan favorites of Dallas franchise are finally in the Hall of Fame. After a 33-year wait, Drew Pearson seemed to be one of the highest energy recipients of this weekend's ceremony, while Jimmy Johnson took the time to reflect live with Jerry Jones during his speech.
To go from the worst team in the league 2 years in a row to winning back-to-back Super Bowls and building a heck of a football team. We did it, and let me tell you, from the bottom of my heart, thank you, Jerry.
Those are your Cowboys headlines from over the weekend. For San Antonio Sports Star, I'm Carl Schoening.
Not all pizza places are the same. Mellow Mushroom originated hand-tossed, stone-baked classic Southern pizza. Not in the mood for pizza? Order a calzone, hoagie, sandwich, burger, or a mellow salad and see how care goes into every item on the menu. Take your pick from 24 draft beers and or handcrafted cocktails. And many of the pizzas can be made gluten-free or vegan. Mellow Mushroom is at 1604 in Stone Oak Parkway. Hang with friends, watch the game, and mellow out at Mellow Mushroom.
How can I make sure my office never stops working?
With Staples Connect, it's possible. I need to keep my back office stocked without messing up my bottom line. Also possible, because Staples Connect has your small business covered with big savings on everything you need. This week, earn 30% back in a Staples store bonus when you spend $85 on ink or $200 on toner. Explore what's new at your local Staples or staplesconnect.com. Staples Connect, the working and learning store. Limit 4 in-store only. Visit staplesconnect.com/store bonus for details. Ends 8/21.
Elwetto's Automotive Paint provides quality coatings and selection of paint supplies for your automotive finishing needs. Elwetto can match any color for that specific work you're doing. And if you own a car painting or body shop business, you have to compare prices with Elwetto's Paint Supply to start saving today. Come check us out at Elwetto's Automotive Paint for quality coatings and a great selection of auto painting needs. Located at 3108 West Avenue. Call us at 210-749-3116. 210-749-3116. Check us out on Facebook or Google at Elwetto's Automotive Paint.
Guys love shopping at Diamonds Direct because they can always get a bigger, better diamond for less.
We got a higher quality diamond for less money than we look at any other store that we went to.
I even shopped down in Mexico, thinking maybe down in the Caribbean it would be better off, and nothing could beat what I found here.
The value and the deal that you can get by cutting out the middleman.
You're certainly getting quality and price, which you don't find elsewhere.
But beyond the value, what guys really love about Diamonds Direct is they make it easy with transparency, education, guidance, and respect for
you and your budget.
What I thought was going to be a stressful situation ended up being completely pleasant, enjoyable process from beginning to end.
For all the dudes out there, buying jewelry is difficult and stressful. Diamonds Direct eliminates all that.
If you're looking for zero hassle, zero high-pressure sales techniques, Diamonds Direct is the place to go.
Discover a truly guy-friendly jewelry shopping experience.
I guarantee you that once you walk in these stores, you're not going to go anywhere else.
Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion. Official jeweler of the Dallas Cowboys at the shops at La Cantera.
If you get arrested, get out of jail fast by calling AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text bail to 474747 or online mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else. Don't be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you one, make sure you understand the conditions before accepting it. AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. They have payment plans. Call 210-225-2121 or mybestbailbonds.com.
License number 149.
A 17-week season and only one couch. Let's hope it holds up. The Cowboys are back. The explosive action happens here. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Opinions, opinions, opinions. We got them. Keep them coming. San Antonio.
It's halftime. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. Thank you all for tuning into our frequency. If you are checking us out on Facebook or YouTube, we also appreciate y'all wherever you might be. Carl Schoening at Carl ESPN, Carl with a K. At I Am Pledger, James Pledger on the other side of the glass, producing, running the show. I wanted to get to a comment here from YouTube before we moved on. Tavares asks, do you guys see the Spurs making another trade right is starting up all of these picks? He meant to say Brian Wright, spelled with a W, but he has it right.
Storing up.
Yeah, he's storing up all these picks. So, yeah, it's never bad to accumulate assets. You don't want to give away too much in any trade, but I do think the Spurs have a couple potential moves up their sleeves, and we'll see what those may or may not be as we wrap up the off season here in the next few weeks. I don't really see any moves being made in September. I think most teams want to know what their rosters are by September. So somehow we're almost halfway through. This Friday will be the 13th. August is kind of flying by here.
What?
Yeah, Friday the 13th, this upcoming Friday.
Well, that's no good. Nothing good ever happens. That's when Jason kills people. Not Minix, but Voorhees.
Well, yeah, we'll definitely keep an eye on all Spurs rumors and any Woj bombs that might be coming out. I'm obviously always interested in seeing what we got going on.
Keep an eye on Pascal Siakam.
Yeah, that's an interesting name you brought up. I don't mind little Pascal Siakam because
I wouldn't either.
Yeah, he's a good player, and I could see Toronto being in selling mode, obviously, as they start their youth movement. Some of those picks wouldn't be too bad. So before I get into it, I wanted to ask you, I want to talk about the Jay Glazer sound about Dak Prescott first, but I want to ask, is it Pop's fault that Team USA won gold? Do we blame Greg Popovich for this?
Blame?
Yes. It was
or
his
credit?
fault. I'm just making a joke. If they had gotten silver, everybody would have been jumping on Pop.
Sure,
you know that. There was some big buildup.
You know as well as anybody. Coaches get saddled with L's, players get saddled with W's.
Yep, players win, coaches lose. Now, I'm not a big proponent of that. Everybody has more or less an equal role in how the outcome of a game goes, and sometimes comes down to luck. They did have me sweating a little bit, though, at the end of that game, but
when Dame missed those true free throws, I was really sweating.
They came away with the gold. And they had a big celebration after, and I'm happy, especially for France, that it was a close game and not a blowout where we knew that the gold was going to be handed 5 minutes left in the fourth.
I'm upset that it wasn't.
Well, France is a good team. They deserve to be in that gold medal game, and
sure, you can be in the game. Doesn't mean you deserve to be close.
That's fair. But hey, Rudy Gobert, defensive player of the year that also gets to just camp out in the lane. No defensive 3 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you know he wants that rule taken up in the NBA. So Jay Glazer, seems to be the only person really connected in Dallas that knows what's going on with the whole Dak Prescott thing. And if you're listening to Dallas's side of things, Dak's side of things, just move on. Hey, wait for week 1. We'll be good week 1. Don't worry about it. Jay Glazer had to go and mess that up and throw in this bit of sound. Pledge, you got that for me?
I do. This was Jay Glazer during the pregame, during the Hall of Fame game, as he spoke to Dak Prescott's injury.
No, they do not. Let's get this straight. They fully expect him to be the starter week 1. However, the injury is actually a different injury than most football players got, more of a baseball injury. In fact, it's kind of under the armpit. The Dallas Cowboys training staff have actually reached out to the Texas Rangers training staff just for a little bit more help from them. But they fully expect them to be good for week 1.
That's what happens when you skip your downward dogs in yoga. You got to get that underarm stretched out.
Sure, why not? But that was that, and in combination with a few things, frightened me when it comes to Dak Prescott, because Troy Aikman said on the broadcast that he believes the Cowboys are downplaying it, and when it's your franchise quarterbacks missing this amount of time, I tend to think it's probably a little more significant than what they have let on. Troy Aikman probably has about as good access to the Dallas Cowboys as anybody.
That's true. And to speak to Aikman's point, if you're listening from the Cowboys side of things, don't worry about it. If you're listening from Aikman and Glazer's side of things, there's more to
Even
this. That
Glazer says, don't worry about it. They expect him to start week 1, but then I heard him say it's the muscle under the arm. So what did I do? I went to, obviously, WebMD and Googled muscle underarm. That muscle is called the teres muscle. I learned about this last year because Jay Glazer also said that they have spoken with the Texas Rangers. Well, the Texas Rangers dealt with this because Corey Kluber in his Rangers debut lasted 1 inning before tearing his teres major muscle and missing the rest of the year last year.
Ooh, stellar research. And that's not what you just raised the concern level among listening Cowboys fans, because you hate to hear that. But overall, to all their credit, we're kind of in a slow period of actual news from all of these teams. They're not really obligated to give us any update on Dak Prescott until there's an update to be given, which maybe he gets to play the last preseason game. It wouldn't be the end of the world if he only plays 1 or 2 preseason games. They have too many of those anyway, but I did want to get on that. Real quick before we get out of here, expectations for Primo and Vassell tonight as they take on the Timberwolves.
I expect to see good things as they continue to develop. They've looked better in each and every passing game. I expect that to continue. Also, congratulations to the women's national team for taking home gold, especially Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi.
And thank goodness for all of Team USA winning the gold medal count. I'm Carl Schoening. He's James Pledger. This has been Halftime on San Antonio's Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. We'll see you tomorrow.
Football in America is a special game, a unique game played like nowhere else on earth. It's a rare